right. Good morning. Let me try this real quick here. All right. Good morning to you. Good to have you with us today. I'll explain. There was a weird thing that happened. And so it wasn't coming up. I wasn't allowed to go live there for a few moments. So I was wondering if I was ever going to get to that spot. But here we are. That's why you wouldn't get notifications. It wasn't allowing me to pull up at all. So I had to do some maneuvering. Yeah. Good. Thank you. Good morning. Good to have you with us this morning on Sunrise Santa Rosa. Today on a Tuesday. We're going to talk about gaslighting today. It's a thing. It's a real thing. And the left, the liberals, the progressives, those who want to cease and stop you will gaslight you. And I'll explain gaslighting here in a moment in case you don't know what that is. I was wondering why you're wearing the same shirt. I'm not wearing the same shirt. Oh, you mean you got yesterday's video? I see. Gotcha. It's the fog. It is not the fog. Good to have you with us today. My name is Nick Stewart. This is Sunrise Santa Rosa. Telephone number to call is 850-771-0049. And glad that everybody's here. Good morning, HBIC. Welcome. All right. Thank you to Milton Post for hosting. God bless you. Share the video. Let folks know you're a Sunrise Santa Rosa watcher. All right. Cool. Your forecast for today. Oh, it's wet. It are wet. Today, scattered thunderstorms during the morning, becoming more widespread this afternoon. Storms may contain strong gusty winds. And a high near 73. The chance of rain is 80%. Tonight, thunderstorms low near 65. Chance of rain 90%. Then tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy skies with scattered thunderstorms in the morning and a high near 72. The chance of rain tomorrow, 60%. It is 70 in Milton, 67 Gulf Breeze, 67 Navarre, and 70 in Pensacola. All right, let's get started, shall we? So here's what happened yesterday. I gotta do this because I as stuff comes up, I gotta keep an eye on things. And yesterday it came up that because of something somebody said about the new health secretary for Biden, you know, the wannabe female, the ugly woof. Here you go. That one. The health secretary for Assistant Secretary of Health, Rachel Levine. Someone said something about Rachel being an it. All right. And so that prompted the call of being transphobic. And this was on Milton Uncensored, I think. And so I asked the question, what is your definition of transphobic? I don't want the dictionary definition of transphobic. I want your definition of transphobic. What do you say transphobic is? Well, then I was castigated because my premise was wrong. And they refused to answer. Now, I like this person. I was discussing with or trying to have a discussion with. But they would not answer the question. I refuse to answer your question because your premise is wrong. I said, it's a simple question. I want to know, what is your definition of transphobic? Because I want to understand what direction you're coming from. And he said, look it up. I'm like, I don't want to look it up. I want to know your definition of transphobic. And he wouldn't answer it. I'm not going to answer your question. I'm not going to do your homework for you. I'm like, I'm not asking you to do my homework. I just want to know what I'm asking for your opinion. I'm asking for your opinion. And then the gaslighting started. And how my premise was wrong, and then name calling comes in. And when they start doing that, I kind of go, okay. And now I was respectful. I was very respectful. I didn't abuse them. I just asked questions. I'm like, I'm just asking a question. And then they go, well, what about this? And I said, I'll answer that if you, I asked the question first. Answer my question. I'll gladly answer your question. But they refused to do so. And because I wouldn't answer their question, I was in the wrong. That's gaslighting. So let me explain this. Let me give you a good explanation of gaslighting. Now, the term gaslight comes from a movie. It was a play, a 1938 play, a 1944 film. A husband manipulates his wife into thinking she has a mental illness by dimming the gas-fueled lights and telling her she's hallucinating. He is trying to make her think she's crazy or wrong or whatever. It's an elaborate and insidious technique of deception and psychological manipulation. It's usually practiced by a single deceiver, but here's what happens with the left is when they don't see they're getting anywhere, they incorporate other people to kind of help solidify how crazy you are. So this is the same thing that happened on the Milton Uncensored. He got somebody else in with him, and they were telling me how crazy I was and how wrong I was. And it's to gradually undermine the victim's confidence in their own ability to distinguish truth from falsehood. So you are wrong, Nick, because you don't agree with me. Now, I just asked a question. And they wouldn't answer the question, what does transphobic mean to you? And so I become immediately the victim. Now, I don't play a victim. It doesn't bother me. You can call me names all day long. I don't care. I was trying to point out, hey, listen, I'm trying to get your viewpoint. I'm trying to get your viewpoint. I want to understand. The left does not seek to understand. Do you understand? You get that? They don't want to understand. You agree with them or you are wrong. Now, I try to approach things open-mindedly. Give me your thoughts on this. I just want to see, and they attack. Now, the reason I'm going through this is because I want you to understand what they're doing. According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, techniques a person may use to gaslight someone include countering. This describes a person's questioning someone's memories. They may say things such as, you never remember things accurately, or are you sure you have a bad memory? Withholding. When someone withholds, they refuse to engage in conversation. A person using this technique may pretend not to understand someone so that they don't have to respond to them. For example, they might say, I don't know what you're talking about. You're just trying to confuse me. Trivializing. It occurs when a person belittles or disregards the other person's feelings. They may accuse them of being too sensitive or overreacting when they have valid concern feelings. Denial involves a person pretending to forget events or how they occurred. They may deny having said or done something or accuse someone of making things up. Diverting. With this technique, a person changes the focus of the discussion and questions the other person's credibility, which is what happens. For example, they might say, that's just another crazy idea you got from your friends. And stereotyping states that a person using gaslighting techniques may intentionally use negative stereotypes of a person's gender, race, ethnicity, sexuality, nationality, or age to manipulate them. Now, it is a thing, Corey. Now, here's the deal. They were calling you transphobic. And then here's the interesting thing, was they were accusing of being transphobic, but at the same time, they belittled my faith. So are they faith-phobic? Now, here's the deal. I was talking about this person. Transphobic, transsexualism, transgenderism is a dysphoria. That's confusion. Okay? It's not normal. And there are two genders. There's two sexes, male and female. There's not 100. That's science. And they were arguing science. You can't help those people. Lots of diverting stereotyping went on instead of answering you. Absolutely. I asked, how many times did I ask Kim? Kim, how many times did I ask that question? And when they got, somebody who doesn't even know me, I could get it if they knew me, said they hated me. I hate you. Oh, good. I didn't do anything to make you hate me. So that's supposed to disturb me, I guess. And then the F word started. So I was like, okay, I'm done. I can't have I said, I'm just wanting to have an intelligent conversation, a discussion, and they can't do it. Now, I understand you identify as, but I don't know. I did ask several times. It was fruitless. And Kim, let me ask you, did I ever get ugly? Did I ever get ugly with them? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yep. 2 chromosomes. That's all. And so this is what we dealt with yesterday. But here's a little clip from the movie. I thought I'd play this a little bit for you so you can kind of see a little bit. Oh, that's just a frame from the movie. But check it out. It's Gaslight. It's pretty interesting. I was painted as a very bad, uncaring, and disrespectful person for asking the question. And it was just a question. What does transphobic mean to you? Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, I didn't get ugly. I was very respectful. And so, yeah. And I don't, if they want to do that, it's fine. I just, at that point, you can't have a conversation with them. They're not in for a conversation. Conversation and dialogue is to learn things. I think it's what Rand Paul was saying on This Week with Stephanopoulos. He said there's 2 sides. And you can have a discussion. Here's a side, here's a side. But they don't want that. Gaslighting. This is what the tactic that the left uses. They scream and holler and call you names because they can't have a conversation. Because they are afraid you might be right. 850-771-0049. I just want to let you know that the cold weather shelter will be open tomorrow night and Thursday night because the temperature is going to dip down again in the 30s overnight. So please, if you know somebody, get them where they need to be. Yay, Mr. Paul. Paul Rand. Gotcha. You lost me there for a moment. I caught up. There were tornadoes overnight in Alabama. One young man got killed. Here's a picture from the devastation last night. Wow. A tree fell on the house and trapped this young man and his family in the basement, and the young man was killed. And so prayer for all those affected by the tornadoes. So there you go. Kim says you can only grow if you can learn. No. You tell me a liberal or somebody with that mindset that has a maturity level. And they don't. They do not. Okay. Escambia County Sheriff's Office is investigating an incident at Sky Zone, Pensacola. In case you didn't know what that was, that's that trampoline place on Davis. Yay. According to the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, they were called to the location twice on Saturday night. Dispatch received a call of a shooting. At least 12 units and Pensacola police responded to the scene. Once on the scene, ESCO said they talked to people in the crowd who denied the shooting occurred, and they found no casings. The sheriff's office left the scene and returned later the same night to find juveniles fighting outside Sky Zone. Deputies detained several juveniles and eventually released them to their parents. On Monday, video was sent to media outlets. In the video, you can hear gunshots and more than 3 dozen teens running out of a business to safety. So, don't let your kids go to Sky Zone. Not safe. Absolutely not safe. And that's a shame. Leanne says, I do too. Even if you don't agree. Look, and can I say, I want to say this on opinions and discussions. There are multiple people, hordes of people. I got a text from one the other day that says, I hope we can talk as friends again because I disagree with them. That doesn't mean I don't like you. That doesn't mean that at all. That means we disagree. That doesn't mean we cannot be friends. The climate we're in, the political climate we're in, if we can't disagree politically or whatever, we cannot be friends. And there are people that think that because I'm a preacher that I can be friends with someone who's a homosexual or whatever. That could be further from the truth. We can be friends. It just means we can disagree. And we can have spirited discussions. That doesn't mean it has to get ugly. And it doesn't mean it has to be unfriendly. But I had that message the other day says, I hope we can talk again as friends. What does that mean? I don't dislike you. I do consider myself your friend. What is wrong with people? You don't always have to agree. We can agree to disagree. We're not Washington, D.C. And that's the problem with today. And I like hearing everybody's opinion as well. 850-771-0049. And you'd be shocked. No, maybe you wouldn't about who sent me that text. Northwest Florida man's hit the jackpot. Holy smokes. This happens all the time here. Florida Lottery announced that Arthur Tompkins, 66 of Pace, claimed a $1 million top prize from the fastest road to $1 million scratch-off using a secured drop box location at the Pensacola District Office. He chose to receive his winnings as a one-time lump sum payment of $799,000. Now, let me ask you a question. You got that kind of money riding. $799,000. Would you use a drop box? Secured or no? Secured or no? No way. I am walking that thing in. There's going to be a chain of daggone custody with this ticket. Yes? Oh, mercy. There's no way I would put that in a drop box. Are you out of your mind? Wowzers. Scary Mary. The search for Pensacola's next police chief is underway, but the public input has been scarce so far. The national search comes after former Chief Tommy Leiter retired from the PPD after 30 years of service. Last week, the city held 2 virtual forums for the general public to voice their thoughts on what qualifications the next police chief should have. It's uncanny to me. They're like, oh, well, we're disappointed we didn't have very many people participate. Well, it could be the times. It could be the times that you did it. I don't know. Trust no one with your ticket. I would not use a drop box. Never. I don't know. I don't know the man. Maybe some of you do. But there is absolutely, he needs to get somebody to help him with his money. If he's going to put that ticket in a drop box, he needs a keeper. But on the new police chief, they're still saying about what we should look for in a national search. Why not do this? I don't know who this guy is, but the assistant chief, who would be primed for the job. Let's have an open forum. Put him on Zoom. Let him give his resume. Let him talk about himself for a little bit and let the public ask him questions. Promote it. It would be cheaper to look inside than outside. And I'm just saying. Leanne wants to help Mr. Arthur with his $1 million. $799,000 after the taxes. Maybe he used a Dropbox because he didn't trust those who are around him. Don't tell people. You just don't tell people. And you just go say, I need to get out for a little bit. And that's how you do it. Dropbox. Woof. Last Thursday, the Board of County Commissioners approved spending $150,000 to formulate a strategic plan that will help prioritize current and future needs for Santa Rosa County relating to infrastructure, budgeting, traffic, and growth during the next decade. Last time we had what I would call a strategic plan was the Better Santa Rosa plan from 2006, said County Administrator Dan Schliebler, who spearheaded the initiative. I just thought it was important to have something, a framework to guide our decision-making, our budget process, and those kinds of discussions in-house. The board unanimously approved hiring Matrix Design Group to formulate the new strategic plan, which will consist of reaching out to Santa Rosa staff and elected officials, as well as holding public workshops with community members to determine the best course of action between now and 2030 or 2035. Now, the county's grown 60,000 people since the last time. That's a lot. That's a lot. Now, I don't mind them spending $150,000 on this study. If they would take it and heat it. Take it and heat it. I want to know, once you get it and once you read it, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to utilize it? Or are you going to go, we're going to do our own thing anyway? Then it's $150,000 thrown away. Will you do the infrastructure? Oh, yes. Oh, most certainly. Do it. Do it. Leanne, I'd stay real quiet if I ever want. I know. Me too. And not live lavishly. I wouldn't go buy new cars and new houses. I don't know. That's exactly what I'm afraid of, Sharon. And so, like, you go to the doctor and you get a diagnosis. They go, you got to change. You got to exercise. You gotta change the way you eat and lose some weight, blah, 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 or you're going to die. Great. Thank you. Here's my money for my insurance and my copay, and you just don't change anything. What difference does it make? Yep. Is that every board though, Sharon? I don't know. 850-771-0049. All right. Doug Underhill, Escambia County Commissioner Doug Underhill, suing the Escambia County for more than $23,000 in legal fees. Now, Doug watches this program. He pops on quite a bit and watches. He incurred in successfully defending a defamation lawsuit. In July, First District Court of Appeals upheld a ruling by Escambia County Circuit Court Judge Stephen Petrie that Underhill had immunity from a lawsuit filed by Scott Miller over Underhill's comments on Facebook about Miller's involvement in the Rolling Hills landfill in the Wedgwood community. Petrie ruled that Underhill's comments on Facebook were a discussion of public county policy and therefore part of his job as county commissioner. Last week, Underhill asked his fellow county commissioners to vote to pay his legal fees in the case, but none of the other commissioners would second the item or even speak on it. It died without a vote. Underhill's attorneys, Todd Harris and Ed Fleming of the McDonald Fleming law firm, filed a lawsuit Monday afternoon on behalf of Underhill, demanding the county follow its policy to pay for the legal defense of commissioners sued over something within the scope of their duties. Underhill's attorney argued that the court's final ruling, all of the conditions required under the county policy had been met. He has a clear legal right to have the board pay his reasonable attorney fees and costs. Once the requirements of the policy were met, the board had a clear legal duty to comply with its own policy regarding the payment of attorney fees and costs. 4 judges have looked at it, a trial court judge, 3 appellate judges. They all said it was part of his job. Pay it. Pay it. You know, I get so sick of these guys thinking they're taking a moral high ground by just not doing what they're supposed to do. Where do I want to go with this? Hall of Famer Hank Aaron's cause of death is still undetermined. Doctors at Morehouse College are emphasizing his death was not because of the COVID vaccine. He got the COVID vaccine. Even though we don't know what the cause of death is, it has nothing to do with the vaccine. Yeah. I didn't even think about that till you brought it up. Aaron, 86 years old, died of sleep January 22nd at his home. On January 5th, he got the vaccine. Now, it's 17 days. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's what happens. I'm not saying it is the vaccine. I'm not saying that at all. But when they jump out front and go, oh, it has nothing to do with the vaccine, makes me wonder. I know, Sharon, we don't know the cause of death. Could it be the vaccine? That's very valid point. It could be, but we don't know. So don't jump out there, doctors, and say it has nothing to do with the vaccine. You don't know that. And that, my friends, scares me. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms posted a tribute on the Mobile native on Twitter. Some responses to her tweet questioned whether or not his death was somehow tied to the vaccine. So, we don't know that. It seems odd that 17 days after he's got the vaccine, he died in sleep. Deaths coming after receiving the vaccine. Could be the vaccine and maybe not. Yep. It comes out. It came out so quick. We don't know. Now, he was 86. Do 86-year-old people die in their sleep? Yeah. But it's worth finding out. What are the numbers of death after vaccine? Now, we don't know. We don't truly know that because they're not reporting that like they were reporting the COVID deaths. You see the disparity. If it was the other way around, I mean, if they used the same formula that they used when they were reporting COVID to the COVID vaccine deaths, this person got the vaccine and then they died. They died from the vaccine. That's what they would say about COVID deaths, right? It could have been just, and I'm not arguing that. Absolutely could be. He's 86 years old. But don't say it wasn't until you know for sure. And we'll never know for sure. Yeah, I don't believe the numbers. I know. Nothing to do with the vaccine. It's from the same people who blame COVID as exactly my point. Yep. And that's what I'm saying. If it was applied the other way, the same way that it was applied to people getting the virus or died from the virus, I know it will be. Yeah. Oh, they just died. Well. Yep. You know it. And I know it. Supreme Court on Monday brought an end to lawsuits over whether Donald Trump illegally profited off his presidency. The justice threw out Trump's challenge to lower court rulings that allowed lawsuits to go forward, alleging he violated the Constitution's emoluments clause by accepting payments from foreign and domestic officials who stayed at Trump International Hotel and patronized other businesses owned by the former president and his family. The High Court also ordered the lower court's rulings to throw out as well and directed appeals courts in New York and Richmond, Virginia to dismiss the suits as moot now that Trump's no longer in office. So all those lawsuits go out the door. How many Bell palsy? I know. Oh, it has nothing to do with it. You never heard about Bell's palsy before until the vaccine. They go, that has nothing to do with it. The flu is down due to masks. The flu is down because they're not testing for flu. They're testing for COVID. And if you have the flu, they're marking it COVID. I know. We'll get to that. Joe Biden said we can't do anything about the vaccine. Now, I got a story on that coming up here in a second, and it's pretty wild. The video and what comes after it is amazing. Let me see. In the latest effort to erase former President Donald Trump from the public's memories, Shelby County Commissioner Tammy Sawyer wants to ban the naming of any county-owned property after former President Trump. This is in Memphis. About a week ago, Sawyer brought the resolution to a Shelby County Commission panel, and it was passed to move to a full panel vote yesterday. Sawyer is the founder of Take 'em Down 901 Foundation, which aimed to remove Confederate statues in the city. So they want to keep President Trump's name off of anything. Wow. Oh, this is interesting. For the first time since 1983, Anheuser-Busch is not going to be advertising Budweiser in the Super Bowl. Now they'll be doing Bud Light and a lot of the other affiliate things, but they're not going to be doing Budweiser. They're going to take that and put it to vaccine education. However, keep these things in mind. They follows a similar announcement from Pepsi, who won't be advertising its biggest brand, Pepsi, in order to focus on its sponsorship of the halftime show. They'll be advertising Mountain Dew, Frito-Lay products. Now, other advertisers like Coke, Audi, Avocados from Mexico, they're not advertising anything during the Super Bowl. Now, they're blaming a COVID-era problem. But is it COVID, or is it the wokeness of the NFL? Now, I have not watched one game this year. I'm a football fan. We're football fans. We haven't watched one. You take a knee, I'm done. I don't care about your politics. I'm done. Our relationship is over. And I've not watched one game. And I am not the only one that has not. And I'm not watching the Super Bowl. I'm not watching the Super Bowl. I'm not watching the commercials. I'm not watching any of it. I have no idea who's in the halftime show. And besides, we haven't had a good halftime show since Tom Petty played. And I don't care. Good riddance to the NFL. Well, I'm sorry about your uncle, Leanne. Prayers for the family. I'm glad it wasn't COVID, but I'm sorry for your family. We'll be praying. Cost of a 30-second Super Bowl commercial actually dropped this year. Yeah, because ratings are down. They're losing. They were doing comp ads to advertisers during NFL games, meaning they were giving them extra ones because the ratings were down. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. I know. Oh, cool. Yeah, the Tom Petty halftime show was amazing. He did a great job. But all this Beyonce and Lady Gaga and all this, Madonna. When they start doing Madonna, I'm like, oh, I'm out. Woof. 850-771-0049. Let's see here. I am quickly running out of time. Now, Joe Biden, on his first day in office, first of all, he signed 33 executive orders. 33. Now, I think Trump signed 3 or 4. Obama signed 3 or 5. Biden, 33. 33 executive orders on day one. But one of them was to kill the Keystone Pipeline. The move swiftly eliminated 11,000 U.S. jobs, including 8,000 union jobs. Neil Crabtree, a welding foreman who began working on the pipeline construction as an apprentice in 1997, was dismayed when he heard the news. This is not a time to be making political statements. We need to be finding ways to put more Americans back to work, not the other way around. A member of Pipeliners Local Union 798, one of 4 unions whose members will be left without work due to the pipeline's cancellation. The 46-year-old welder from Arkansas was among the first to be laid off following the order. At the time, the cross-border permits for the pipeline were rescinded, and he and his team were in Nebraska working on a pump station. In a Facebook post from Wednesday, Crabtree wrote he felt sick in his stomach and aching in his heart. He admitted breaking down and crying in his truck from having to lay off his team. Yeah. Yeah, I know. He's a ding-dong. Biden is a ding-dong. I know. Wild. I've got to get some of the stuff here running quickly out of time. I want you to see this. Is this the one? Yeah. Check this out. I'm just going to play it, and then we'll talk about it.
I know he always asks me tough questions. And
he's pointing to Steve Doocy, by the way. Steve Doocy from Fox News. Steve Doocy's the only one that asks him any kind of, and I don't think they're difficult questions, but it does make him have to answer it. It's not what flavor ice cream, right? It's an actual question.
To them, but I like him anyway, so go ahead and ask the question.
Thank you, Mr. President. So you just said that you think within 3 weeks or so we'll be at the point where there are 1 million vaccines per day, but it seems like...
No, I think we'll get there before that. I said, I misspoke. I hope we'll be able to increase...
1 million vaccines per day. Now, Steve goes, Peter says, hey, you said that we would get there in 3 weeks. He goes, no, I misspoke. We'll get there before that. All right?
As we go on till we get to the 1.5 million a day. That's my hope.
And then the follow-up to that would be, now that you're president and you're saying there's nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months, what happened to 2 months ago when you were talking declaratively about I'm going to shut down the virus?
Well, I'm going to shut down the virus, but I never said I'd do it in 2 months. I said it took a long time to get here. It's going to take a long time to beat it. And so we have millions of people out there who have the virus. We're just, for the first day, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I've been doing other things this morning, speaking with foreign leaders, but one of the things I think this is one of the first days that the numbers actually come down, the number of deaths and the number on a daily basis and the number of hospitalizations, et cetera. It's going to take time. It's going to take a heck of a lot of time. And we still have,
we're going to shut it down. We're going to shut down the virus. Trump couldn't do it. I'm going to do it. Now he's backpedaling.
Constantly points out, it's one thing when we have mass, how can I say it politely, mass disregard of the warnings about not wearing masks and wearing masks and social distancing and failure to social distance and people getting together on holidays in ways that weren't recommended, et cetera. We see, first thing that happens is we see...
So he's talking about wearing a mask and not wearing a mask. So in the middle of his thing, he's not been wearing a mask, and he all of a sudden puts it on. That's virtue signaling, my friends.
The number of infections go up. Then you see the hospitalizations go up. Then you see the deaths go up. And so we're in this for a while. I mean, what are we now? About 410,000 deaths? And there's going to be more. The prediction, as I said from the very beginning to
No.
get here, as after being sworn in, was the predictions were we're going to see somewhere between a total of 600,000 and 660,000 deaths before we begin to turn the corner in a major way. So, and again, remember, the vaccine, most of the people taking the vaccine, a vast significant number, require 2 shots, and they are an average of 3 weeks apart. And it takes time for it to be sure that you get to that 95% assurance rate. And so it's beginning to move, but I'm confident we.
So let me ask you a question then. Why is Gavin Newsom and Cuomo lifting all the restrictions? If it's going up, and it is going up, according to the numbers, why are all the restrictions being lifted? Anybody? This is so stupid. So dumb. Now, the people passed, and I knew it was Peter Doocy. I made a mistake. I did correct it earlier. So they were bashing Peter Doocy, and it is so. Let me see if I can find where what they said about him. It said he acted. Peter Doocy was acting in bad faith. Yeah. They said he was acting in bad faith. Brett Hume put it out. Bad faith, my A. Yeah. Nice. Now, here's another question. This is for Jen Psaki. Psaki. And this, again, is Peter Doocy. The only one that asks any real questions of this administration. Listen to this. This is pretty interesting.
The announcement you made off the top about the travel restrictions. Mm-hmm. When President Trump was imposing travel restrictions in March, specifically on China, then candidate Biden called it xenophobic and fear-mongering.
So when Trump issued a travel ban, it was xenophobic. Remember, that was the phrase, xenophobic. Like, this is gaslighting. Using a phrase like xenophobic and transphobic, those are gaslighting terms, right?
Now, President Biden is putting travel restrictions on people coming in from other countries. What word do we use to describe that?
Well, I don't think that's quite a.
Is that xenophobic? When Biden puts it on him, is that xenophobic?
President has been clear that
it's not a fair articulation. Oh, that's completely different. These are completely different.
Ban was xenophobic. He overturned the Muslim ban. He also, though, has supported, and he himself, even before, or we did, I should say, even before he was inaugurated, steps, travel restrictions in order to keep the American people safe, to ensure that we are getting the pandemic under control. That's been part of his policy. But he was critical of the former president for having a policy that was not more comprehensive than travel.
He was critical of the former president because it was Trump. But it's okay when Biden does it. She's having struggles trying to explain this policy. They don't like questions from Peter Doocy.
And he conveyed at the time, and more recently, the importance of having a multifaceted approach, mask wearing, vaccine distribution, funding in order to get 100 million shots in the arms of Americans in the first 100 days, not just travel restrictions.
Which, it's not just travel restrictions. It's the shots in 100 million Americans in 100 days. Now, I want you to think about that for just a moment, and the almost impossibility of that task. But it's not xenophobic. It isn't xenophobic like Trump's xenophobic. This is for the good of America. Trump's was xenophobic, but Biden's is not, because it's Biden. You get it? Do you understand the difference? We're ignorant. The American public is really ignorant. You just don't understand anything. And so get it through your head that you need to just get over yourself. She is not a Kayleigh McEnany. She's not. All right. So this is Chuck Schumer. Big Chuck. Up Chuck. He is on Rachel Maddow's show, and Rachel Maddow, he's hilarious. I'll get started on Facebook thing again. Here's Chuck Schumer on Rachel Maddow. This is just weird.
If I were to ask Senator McConnell, or if I were to assess Senator McConnell's legacy, it would be a much shorter answer. His legacy is judges.
Correct. Nope.
So she doesn't even ask a question. She just makes a statement. His legacy is judges.
Tax cuts for the rich.
And
forget that.
Fair enough.
Oh, yeah.
Legislatively, tax cuts.
Don't
for the
forget
rich. But
that.
If you had to sum up the thing that he really did,
Yes,
and
true.
he talks about it being his proudest
He
accomplishment.
does. He brags about it.
Because he was willing to be not just hypocritical, but brazenly, proudly hypocritical.
Proudly,
Pull out
yeah.
all the stops, to break every rule, to do absolutely everything to put young conservative ideologues on the bench. It is a very imbalanced judiciary now.
Absolutely.
For decades, there will be essentially the judiciary will be.
So if there's conservatives on the judiciary, it's out of balance. But if it was way too many liberals, like it has been for eons, it's okay. It's okay.
How do you try to make up some of that ground?
Okay, it's a great question. First, the good news is there we don't need anything. Our 51 votes allows us to put judges on the bench and report them out of committee. And there will be lots of vacancies that come up, and I think there are a lot of judges, Democratic appointees, who didn't take senior status while Trump was president, who now will, and they stay on the bench, but then we get to fill it. So first, we can fill up a lot. Second, traditionally, we have increased the number in the lower end circuit courts. I have in the city of Buffalo they don't have enough judges. There's this long line before you can get to court because they don't have enough. So we could expand those relative.
District courts and circuit courts.
Correct. Now, as for the Supreme Court, that's the big one. And
Here we go. For the Supreme Court, listen, you've got to hear this.
President Biden has put together this commission to come up with a report in 180 days. We're going to see what that commission says and go from there.
In terms of whether or not there should be additional seats on the Supreme Court.
Correct.
Do you have an opinion on it heading into that
I'm going to
process?
wait for his. I'm gonna wait
Stack
for
in the
his
court.
report.
Do you?
So he would not say, but you know what it's the same thing that Biden was doing. So Biden's going to do a commission. And should we put more people on the court? And the answer is going to come back, yes. We're going to expand the Supreme Court. Schumer's like, she goes, well, what do you think? I'm not going to say. But she goes on to ask him about the rest of the Democrats. And he's like, well, it's kind of split. They're kind of indecisive. Yeah, no, they're not. They are not. They will push, and they will stack the Supreme Court. Look, we told you they're already pushing for D.C. to become a state. It'll be Puerto Rico. It'll be packing the Supreme Court. This is what they're doing. They're going to get rid of they want to get rid of the Electoral College. Now, it's going to be more difficult because they don't have the votes to get rid of the filibuster. That is the one shining thing. They won't be able to get rid of the filibuster. And that's the only thing that's going to stop them from destroying us immediately. It's going to make it more difficult for them. But look, make no mistake, he just said it. He just said it. They are going to pack the court. It's going to be interesting. They're against all we're for. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They absolutely want to destroy you. They do. Lovely people, eh? Anthony Fauci makes more than the president. Did you know that? He makes more money than the president. I'll find that real quick here. I don't remember. It's like $330,000 a year. It's crazy. But he's I don't know where I went to. Anyway, he makes more than the president. Just saying. Oh, here it is. Fauci pulled in $417,608 in 2019. And the previous 2 years, he earned $384,625. So there you go. That's who he is. The Democrats are in trouble. The U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts is not interested in presiding over another Senate impeachment trial against former President Trump. There have been rumblings that Roberts would bow out before the Senate trial, which would make way for Senate Patrick Leahy to preside. Senate source told Fox News that the president pro tempore of the body presides in cases when the impeached individual is no longer president of the United States. The Constitution says the Chief Justice presides for sitting president, so it was up to John Roberts whether he wanted to preside with a president who is no longer sitting. And he doesn't want to do it, Schumer said. So, and Biden says he doesn't think they have the votes to impeach Trump. So they're in trouble. The thing they wanted to do, the thing they wanted more than anything, is to get Trump out of office. Trump's out of office. Then they wanted to destroy him so he can never run again. They can't do it. They don't have the ability. And this should tell you and speak volumes. It's not maybe necessarily as dire as we thought. And we'll see. One more piece of video here to show you. This is Eric Swalwell, the China spy Romeo, which I really thought he was gay. I truly did. Anyway, here's Eric Swalwell on Jake Tapper. We'll talk about it.
We're witnesses to the crime, so you don't have to tell them twice what happened.
While I have you here, I want to ask you, House Republicans have called for you to step down from the House Intelligence Committee because of the situation. You were informed by the FBI that you had been targeted by an alleged Chinese spy who I guess is no longer in the country. Have you learned any more?
She's not alleged. It's not alleged. She was a Chinese spy or is a Chinese spy.
This case since this broke in early December. And can you clarify how much contact you had with this Chinese national who goes by Fang Fang or Christine Fang?
Jake, yes, and this was a 2015 meeting about a person that I had as a volunteer back in 2012 on the campaign.
Yeah, that you slept with. She wasn't just a volunteer. You slept with her.
The FBI has said that I did nothing wrong. Don't take it from me. There was no wrongdoing. I've learned nothing new. And Speaker Pelosi has said that she's keeping me on the committee. And by the way, Jake, Republicans were briefed.
Well, yeah, why not believe Pelosi?
That this individual was trying to do with me and many other members of Congress back in 2015. I think this is retaliation more than anything else.
Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell of California, thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Appreciate
Thanks,
your time.
Jake.
So there's no follow-up. There's zero follow-up from Jake Tapper. Are you out of your mind? No follow-up. He lets him say it, and there's zero follow-up. Now, if this was a Republican, he would be grilling him. He gave him a pass. Wow. The left is going to get softballs constantly. They will constantly get softballs all the way out. And Swalwell, the FBI said there's nothing. There's nothing. That's not true. That is not true. All right, kids, we got to get out of here. I know we're short today because we had trouble getting on, but share the video. I love you. I appreciate you. Stay strong. Don't let them gaslight you. Don't let them gaslight you. God bless. Have a great day.